Hello all. I finally found uh, an opportunity to culminate years of research into a single video, and I have titled it as How a Story Can Save Us from AI Job Losses Shock and Possibly Create Utopia 2.0. Sounds impossible, but stories have always done something impossible. Let us first realize the power of a story. We can collaborate and cooperate in large numbers only because we believe in a particular story. You know, companies are stories, nations, countries are stories, religions are stories. It's a way to think about it. Stories are a perfect metaphor of how we collaborate and cooperate with each other just because a similar person is also having the same belief system as mine. And when a story is backed by a legal or people's framework, it manifests a reality. What is that story that everybody believes in? Like uh, everyone, like Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Americans, Chinese, European Union, Indians, everybody believes in that story. It's not Harry Potter, it's not a religion. Drawing from the wisdom of Yuval Sapiens, it's actually capitalism combined with consumerism. And this is a genius observation. Think about it. Like everyday transactions, everyday thoughts that we have, it is, if we think it from a principles perspective, everything is because everybody is believing in this story of capitalism and consumerism. And we could seek to change that. But then, why do we believe in capitalism? We all blindly believe that by earning more, working for companies, it will make us more secure, more prosperous. It really won't, because by many estimates, we cease to exist in like 100 years if capitalist societies continue on the same track. The sad reality is that AI and automation means that the middle class would be wiped out, leaving the ultra rich and a large society with little or no economic agency. The fruits of AI and automation, when distributed prudently, can drive a drastic change in the society. But I'm not talking about UBI here. The story is something else, and we'll come to it. So, what interesting about the story is highly intellectual white collars who are lost their job or losing their job, they are at a risk of losing their job very soon, will find the story very attractive. So, am I talking about communism then? We first need to understand that communism was an 1800s concept, and even Adam Smith's capitalism was around at a same similar time. And communism is, I feel, inherently flawed in its principle, where it says from each according to its ability and to each according to his needs. Merits and talents, I believe, command to be rewarded. And economic theory is central to any big story. You know, donut economics, systems thinking, UBI are great models to have. But we propose an economic theory called PTP economics, and more more on this later when I introduce all the parts of the story. My only critique about donut economics is even systems thinking is they know what to get done. Uh, Even UBI for that matter, they know what to get done, but they are not sure how will we get it done. So is this story for like everyone on the planet, like capitalism is, because capitalism was a story for everyone on the planet? Not yet. The story is just for about roughly 1 million people on the planet, roughly 1 million rare people on the planet, who I call the MPI people. MPI stands for merit. They have a merit in their domain that they are expert in, philanthropic mindset, They really care about, they are really compassionate about the world and integrity. They really follow high moral standards. And this is the story in which, if we find 1 million right people connecting, collaborating, cooperating with one another, working on innovative projects, we will change the humanity, we'll change the face of humanity forever. So, what is this story that I'm working on so passionately? Uh, so any story needs funding, and how we plan to fund ourselves is through HubSeed, Humanitarian Product Service Intelligence. Basically, the idea is to gather intelligence about all the products that are manufactured, all the services that are manufactured, and use it in a humanitarian way for humanity. Then we have the philosophy of centrism to bind various imagined realities together. Now, the MPI people that I talked about, 1 million MPI people, they already are a part of imagined reality. Now, imagined reality is not like imagined, it's actually a reality. It's an NGO, or it's a political party, or it's another organization like the Tatas. So, like, to bind all these entities together, we need a philosophy, and that philosophy is centrism that we will again see. Uh, so, every big story that has a big impact on people was always an economic story, how the economics of the world would be arranged and organized. So we have an economic theory called as the PTP economics uh, that we'll see. The principle behind this economics is the prosperity of the people who are associated with us is guaranteed, but their perpetuity is not. Prosperity is guaranteed, perpetuity is not. Uh, we will professionally network like through a brain chain tech framework. Now, I believe the traditional social media is not equipped to uh, bring people together, and the brain chain tech framework that we are building is. And I'll be releasing many more videos on the brain chain tech framework, because I think this is the part where we'll be spending most of our time, at least in the initial days. uh, so BrainChain Tech Framework will help us to connect, communicate, incubate, and cooperate and barter strategically with AI. We'll again see about this framework. And then we will follow a sophisticated shared knowledge management system called as the shared second brain. Uh, Again, that I said, they form collective pillars of this story. And I know too many jargons in this story, because but this was necessary to actually uh, put out something new. So we'll see each and every component one by one. So first we'll see HUBSI. So HUBSI is, it stands for Humanitarian Product Service Intelligence. Now there is a very interesting thing about knowledge, right? If we 1 million people come together and I find some like really valuable knowledge, say I found the knowledge to make this water bottle, I can easily share it with my 1 million people. And that is a kind of a hack that we have. So imagine this organization who has the know-how of all the goods and services available to humanity and plans this to use it for a philanthropic purpose, right? We'll see how this will be used for a philanthropic purpose. Uh, Now it shares and collectively builds this know-how with organizations with similar goals. So it's not a central database, but a distributed database wherein this database lies in with, say, for example, various NGOs. It lies with United Nations or like similar entities. And also, it's not just a database. Uh, it owns assets like machinery and real estate to produce goods and services for MPI people and social workers at the least cost possible. So the idea behind this is, just imagine a machinery, uh, say for example, a printing machine that works 24/7 for these kind of people, the 1 million people that I talked about, and maybe 5 million people who are working under them. So this machine that I'm talking about, this could be a printing machine, this could be any machine. This is acting like a social worker itself. It is acting for humanity itself. And this was the idea behind Hupsi, like one idea behind Hupsi. So again, the principle is prosperity is guaranteed, perpetuity isn't. Now let's delve into this idea of centrism. Now, centrism, as in not center, that like left, right, and center. Center, like centrism, as in equanimity. Equanimity, as in the balanced state of mind where you understand, when you don't identify with anyone and you really calmly take decisions. That state of mind. This is where the centrism word actually originates from. So this is a philosophy made to reconcile and synergize. It's not just about accepting the difference, it's about celebrating the difference and then coming up with something like really out of the box. So to reconcile and synergize with each and every imagined reality. So the pillars of centrism, they are of course empathy, then non-identity during empathy. I don't identify myself as the identity which I carry, at least during the empathy sessions. And then acceptance and synergy. Again, going beyond tolerance, actually accepting and then synergizing so that we work together towards a much larger goal. And then the fourth, but the most important part is prudence with multi-paradigm thinking. Like we are all caught up in very like old patterns of thoughts, but there are new patterns of thought arising. There is systems thinking, there is first principles thinking. There is like we could think about a problem statement from various domains. Like we could think it from a historical perspective, we could think it from a economics perspective, we could think it from a social science perspective, we could think it from a tech perspective. So bringing this multi-paradigm thinking in place and then coming up with solutions and then coming up with something to bind everything, to collaborate with everyone. So every economic theory has to answer these three fundamental questions: what to produce, and how to distribute. Uh, so in the very near term, uh, the only thing that we'll be producing is the research and development of the strategic intelligence of goods and services. So HUBSI that I talked about. In the short term, we'll be producing 5% of the products and services that are used 50% of the times. Then we'll be moving on to 20% of those products and services used 80% of the times. How to produce? Frankly, uh, there are things to actually, uh, what you could say, elaborate on this, more to ponder on this. But few ideas that we have is bartering the excess production for labor and intra-trading between communities. And in the long term, it is kind of obvious that we produce it through automation. And the very long term, we could have like city centers, like uh, large centers outside cities, wherein everything is produced automated and it is distributed very fairly. Uh, but it is in between these things which where things could go very interesting. So how to distribute? It will be abundance entrepreneurs will get rich first. Now, what do you mean by abundance entrepreneur? We'll come to this when we in the next slide. But then basically, abundance entrepreneurs will get rich first. People with a philanthropic mindset and skill set will get rich second, and people in philanthropy with little skill set will get rich next. So this is basically the trickle down theory, the conscious trickle down theory that we see. And how to distribute is much more clear in this slide. So abundance entrepreneurs will get rich first. Now, when I talked about your uh, prosperity is guaranteed, your perpetuity is not. But then still, the abundance entrepreneurs who will get rich first, they will have 49% of the share with them, and 51% for the trust, which is following PTB economics. Uh, then what we'll have is people with a philanthropic mindset and skill set will get rich second. Basically, these are people with high merit: social entrepreneurs, social scientists, social economists, open source coders, PIL lawyers. What I found during my life is there are many such people who wanted to pursue these careers but then did not, because they thought that, oh, I will not be able to sustain a lifestyle if I opt for these careers. And this is the exact what you could say stigma that we want to reduce by following this conscious trickle down economics. Then obviously the next what comes in the funnel is people in philanthropy with little skill set. They would be social workers. And then people who are in dire need of resources. A very fundamental part of making this happen is the brain chain tech framework. The social media currently doesn't really have the potential to actually connect people and then make these transactions happen. So BrainChain Tech Framework, first you will have to know why Tech Framework works. It is due to the concept of virtual mind. I'll attach the link in the description below. And with this concept of virtual mind, we can connect to exactly those people who we can vibe with, who we can collaborate with, who we can really have business deals with. So connection is that important. Then is communication, because we are creatures where we forget a lot. We forget what we have read. We forget in the exact communication that what to exactly say to that person, and we through the virtual mind theory we'll exactly know ki, okay, this is the person uh, you are communicating, and what would be the highest possible form of communication that we could have. Then this also holds for cooperation, for cooperating in mass numbers using Nash equilibrium. Nash equilibrium is a very interesting concept in that like for which John Nash had won the Nobel Prize, I guess. Uh, so it will tell you how to collaborate in large numbers and how that collaboration is valuable for yourself and others. Then there will be incubation of your ideas. Now scientists, entrepreneurs have like a lot of ideas, but they don't know key, they don't have the host to which these ideas could be taken forward to. So these this will be the incubation process in which uh, like people are working on like 5 to 6 parallel projects, and then like they are incubating their ideas, their projects, their side hustles in a much more larger community to increase the probability of getting things done. Now again, each of these connect, collaborate, communicate, barter is a topic at which I can discuss on Lens, and we are actually working on these with colleges. So we will make a separate video on each of those like modules when we in like near future. So again, uh, to uh, foster this process, we'll have something called as the shared second brain. Now, very few people are actually aware about the knowledge management system, or how like what concept Tiago Forte had given about second brain and how to build a second brain. You know, so we are proposing this idea of a shared second brain, wherein we follow two principles: eat the cream first, that is get the highest quality knowledge of a particular topic, of a particular domain, and get it fast, right? and then pollinate with different domains, right? And uh, this is made possible with a knowledge management system with multiple communities, uh, exactly what you could say, contributing and updating their knowledge. And again, this is a topic wherein which has to be discussed in length, but I wanted to give a preview in this video. So again, putting together all the story, we'll be funded by Hubsy. We'll follow the philosophy of centrism. We'll be guided by the PTP economics, which will be having a conscious trickle down, triggering a lot of prosperity in the society. We will professionally network through the brain chain tech framework. Uh, and then we'll be following a sophisticated shared knowledge management system called as the shared second brain. And why is this not a company? Why is this a story? Because company is somewhere, where uh, you are an employee or you're not an employee, right? Story is like everybody can own the story, everybody can contribute to the story. And I just believe in a very distributed form of a power structure. I believe in a very uh, bottom up innovation, bottom up evaluation process. And this is where I tell that we are not building a company, but we are building a story. And then what this means for all of us. Overall, this framework, this economics and the philosophy will give rise to a new philanthropic, prosperous, well-networked upper middle class. And prosperity, like, just make sure that you have understood each word in that sentence. It will not be the existing upper middle class. It will be the uh, middle new upper middle class. It will be a philanthropic upper middle class. It will be a prosperous upper middle class, and it will be a well networked upper middle class. And this will not be in a country. This will be across all the countries, right? So the prosperity for the larger class is made sure by the conscious trickle down in the long run, and AI and automation in the conscious trickle down in the short run, and AI and automation in the long run.